Creating a New World. I'm Michaelegerber. It's April 22nd, 2010. It's Earth Day. What a fitting time to be speaking with you today. The world's economy has been shattered. In these United States of America, both Wall Street and Main Street have been wrought with a tsunami of fiscal disaster, the size and complexity of which has not been experienced since the Great Depression. The result has been economic chaos for large companies and small, to a degree still underappreciated nor fully understood. Experts don't understand it. The millions of unemployed and now unemployable certainly don't understand it. Companies whose fate has been derailed so drastically do not understand it either. The media on the right and on the left don't understand it, and chances are that you, the one I'm speaking to you at this very moment, don't understand it either, but it's simple to understand. We live in an increasingly socialistic world in which the free market principles that built our country, the United States of America, have been derailed by programs and policies politicized by greed, power, narcissism, and ignorance through decisions made with such debonair indifference to the impact they'll have on current and future generations as to defy understanding. The only question one can ask is, how could so many supposedly smart people, free people after all, be so unmitigatingly stupid? Well, of course they can't be. Not stupid at all, simply ignorant. Ignorant of the significance that at one point in the short-lived career of our extraordinary country, there was a Constitution and a Bill of Rights. Ignorant of the significance that at one point in our country's short-lived career, there were sacred principles which have long ago been trodden down and dismembered. Ignorant of the significance that at one point of time in our country, we believed we were a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That our country represented the best of all countries. That our ideals represented the best of all ideals. That we were, and that we are, a grand history in the making. Ignorant of the significance that the downtrodden could make their home here and make a run of it. That the good would always prevail. That the biblical verses we memorized then in Sunday school or in synagogue were true, absolutely, not relatively so, or even worse, not true at all. We believed in such seemingly to us today naive truths back then, at the beginning, during the 18th century and the War of Liberation with Great Britain, during the 19th century and our own Civil War, during the 20th century until World War I, and then through the Great Depression, and then through World War II, and then through the Korean War, and then through the Cold War, and then something quite different took place with the Vietnam War, and the hippie movement, and the age of jazz and rock and roll, and the age of psychology, and the New Age, which followed introspectively on its heels, and our children became strangers to us, and our parents did too, and the work we did became much different than ever before, as the age of the knowledge worker took us to places in the 21st century we had never been to before, with the age of information technology, and the age of the internet, and the two Gulf Wars, and the unimaginable happening with the bombing of New York, and the Pentagon, and a field in Pennsylvania, and so forth, and so on, and so on some more. And even through all of that, in this country, something was being looked for, while something was being lost. And what was lost was our innocence. And what was looked for was something to replace it. Something to replace our lost innocence. Exactly when we lost our innocence in these United States of America is not understood. Perhaps it is true that we were never innocent. Perhaps even at the founding of our country, when those great imaginative men, Jefferson, Washington, Franklin, et al., saw a truth which had never been seen before, and imagined they could manifest it. Perhaps that was the nadir of our innocence, that those men believed in their vision, as did the people there, during the awakening of that new country, this country, so much so that they all fought for it. Perhaps that's, after all, what innocence is. A belief so resolute and pure that one is willing to fight and die for it. If so, we have come a long way today from that sacred space reserved for an innocent people which we held close and secure in what I have come to think of as the Founders' Days. What has brought us to this point in time is the exact opposite of that sacred space, the exact opposite of that innocence, the exact opposite of that fresh, noble, relentless cause which imbued our founders and our people with the energy to pursue the impossible, to throw off the yoke around their necks, to free their minds, to dream outrageous dreams, and to then do what it was they had dreamed of and create a country of it. And of course then, at the heart of our conviction was our resolute belief in God. Yes, God was the cause majeure, the reason for our being, the source of our higher thoughts, the entirety, the everything, the all. Back then, God appeared on everything we created, the buildings we built, the money we printed, the speeches we spoke, and the teachings we taught. God was then the force, the higher power, which put man and his works in perspective at the beginning, during, and long after the Founders' Days. Come forward to April 22nd, 2010. Today, instead of being innocent, we are sarcastic, cynical, political, greedy, and mostly narcissistic, thinking that we, the people, are the aim for which we live our lives, the sole purpose of the life we have been given, the sole reason for being, the highest we can hope for, the end and the means of our existence.